Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Day 8. Yes, it's November 8th. Cruising through to the holidays. Are y'all ready? Ready? So, this topic will be perfect for today. It's about overthinking. And when you have the holidays coming up and you're trying to organize, you're trying to finish out the last things. If you still got kids in school, trying to finish all that out, trying to figure out work. They have maybe a longer break than you. So, what are they going to do while they're home and you're not? Do you have to take vacation? Do you have family coming in? Are you traveling to other families? So, there's a lot going on. And that's just Thanksgiving because right after that, we have Christmas. So, our brains can be on overload. So, let's see if we can today kind of work through some of that overthinking to help the chaos in your brain to kind of alleviate that and give you some peace. And yeah, so let's get started. Today I didn't have a verse in the journal, so I added a couple during this time and I put it in the description so you can have those. So I do have a couple scriptures. So today when I turn my head, it's because I'm looking at my other monitor. I have all my stuff up here. Uh, so I can read it and get it right. So, day 8, our journal prompt is: when you overthink, you repeat the same thought process over and over. Describe an area in your thinking that needs to change. So, what is an area that you just kind of replay over and over? And then also, when do you do that? When do you tend to overthink? Um, for me, one of my major times of overthinking, of course, is when I want to go to bed. And you lay down, and then all of a sudden, your brain starts chugging of all the things that happen throughout the day or what you need to do tomorrow. And so everything kind of gets jumbled in there. One of the overthinking patterns that I tend to do is, let's say I had a conversation with someone that day, and I start to replay that conversation and replay it and replay it. And sometimes I say something else, or sometimes they say something else, or sometimes I add to it. Like I finally get the response I really wanted now that my brain is in a more quiet space. I'm like, oh, I should have said this. Oh, I should have said this. And so then I just kind of replay it and I overthink it, overthinking. Had I done this? Had I done this? Had they said this? Why did they say that? What was their tone like? What was my tone? Why did they the body language, all of those things, you just kind of, for me, that just goes and goes and goes in my brain. And it can just, it gets maddening sometimes. And then if I do it too much, then I almost replace the reality of the conversation with new aspects of what I thought about, because I've thought about it so much, it seems real to me. So we have to be very, very careful with our overthinking, because we can change a conversation by overthinking it, overanalyzing it, and then that creates even more chaos. And so if you do that, make sure that you ask curious questions later with that person and be like, when we talked yesterday, I felt that your tone was this way. Was I right? Was I wrong? Can you help me understand? So to help combat further conflict, ask the person curious questions. Don't come at them with what now you think, what your new perception of the conversation is. So ask to get clarification, so that way you can shut down that overthinking of like, I just got to get, because we want to fill in the gaps. We fill in the gaps of the story with our overthinking and over analysis. We start to plug things in. We go to like past conversations. Well, 10 years ago, and it's like, okay, do you talk the same as you did 10 years ago? Uh, that is something that I've really started to like clue in. It's like, um, during the marriage counseling and stuff, be like, well, you said this 15 years ago. It's like, Yeah, I said a lot of things 15 years ago that I would never say today. I'm such a more mature person, and my mindsets have changed. Everything has changed. It's like I said a lot of things, especially when I was in like college. Some of you in this group, you've known me since middle school. And some of you met me in college. Okay, I was a lot different in college than I am today. It's like, okay, so those things I would say and do, I don't do today. And so it's like we have to be very careful to not like pull past person into present person of like it, so just be aware, because I mean, think about yourself. It's like, are you still doing the same things? And maybe you are, and that's okay. But um for me, I did a lot of dumb things, said a lot of stupid things, very stubborn, opinionated. I thought I knew so much, and I didn't. I think most of us between the ages of 12 and 25, we think we are really super smart, and we do like the dumbest things, and we believe the dumbest things ever between 12 and 25. Just saying. Uh, Especially those of you who have raised adult children, you get that. Um, but anyway, so how do we help out with that? That was a total rabbit trail. Uh, it's not that surprising on these calls though. So, so I have the quote I have is the definition of this insanity is repeating the same behaviors and expecting a different outcome. So that's overthinking. You repeat the same behavior. If I sit every night and sit right before I want to go to bed and dwell on all of the conversations, all of the things I wish I changed or didn't understand or need to, and overanalyze this and overanalyze that and overthink this, or like even like let's say, because we talked about Thanksgiving coming up. If you start overthinking that, well, if mom comes, she can't sit because my parents are divorced, so but they're both coming, so they can't sit together. But what if my mom brings her boyfriend? What if my dad brings his has a girlfriend that we don't know about? Because last year he did bring someone, and it was everyone was freaking out, so we can't have him sit there. And then you just overanalyze, overthink, over, and this is where we just have to just stop. And so here's the verses that hopefully I know they can help you stop, but you have to use them, and you got to start controlling your mind. Okay, you have control over your thoughts. So verse number 1 is from Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So, in this, I really noticed the be not dismayed. And when we overthink, we can be in dismay. It just can feel so overwhelming. Like it's just too much because you're overthinking a past conversation, or you're overthinking a future conversation, a future situation, and it just becomes too much. And God doesn't want that for you. He says, I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you. So when you get in those spaces of that overthinking, just let it go. Just release it, and get your brain doing something else. Find something else to do. Immediately get some kind of noise going on around you to drown out all that overthinking. Maybe it's worship music, maybe it's a podcast, maybe whatever works for you. Maybe you need to just get outside and go for a walk. Maybe you need to jump, do some exercise, get your body moving, and then just really start meditating on scripture. Just repeat this verse and cry out to God and be like, God, you got to help me, because this is too much. Because when we allow that overwhelming, overthinking, over analyzing to happen, it can affect our bodies. Especially because, like for me, I do it at night. So then I'm not sleeping. Or right before I go to bed, when I do finally fall asleep, I've created chaos in my head. So it's not peaceful. And a lot of times I'll wake up right where I left off because I haven't been able to shut it down before I go to sleep. And so your brain just picks right back up. And so then you're exhausted because you're like, right, I got this coming up. I got to figure this out. I got to do this. I got it. You know, you just get in this sense of complete overwhelm. And that's not what God wants for you. So, the other verse I have, which I love this one, it's Psalm 4:8. In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. And that was one I had to repeat to myself a lot to get to sleep, to like truly set it down. That meditation of remembering is like, okay, God, I just got to hand this all over to you. I need peace. I need peace in my brain so I can sleep. And when you think about all those thoughts, you have zero control. Zero. I have zero control of a past conversation. It's done. It's happened. I can't change the outcome at all. And then if I'm overthinking the future things, I have no idea. I haven't even asked the people to come, or I don't know. You know, but we start to put in all of this stress and anxiety for all these unknowns, and it's like that's not living and abiding in God. So really take some time. What areas do you overthink? What type of overthinking? Mine's usually like I said, past conversations or like future conversations I know I'm going to have, trying to plan out the situation or an event that where I'm going, and I just kind of play out the scenario in my head. That's kind of my thing. And so figure out what yours are, and then when you do it, when do you have this? Because again, once we start connecting all of the dots, when we start connecting what we truly are thinking about with our present, with actually what we're doing, and then with our heart, like why are we triggered this way? Why do we go into this space? And so if we can identify these areas and see it for what it is, then we can change it and we can get back into alignment, and we can stop these crazy overthinking trains, all of the nonsense. I mean, really, a lot of nonsense goes on in my head. As I think you're starting to realize as we go through this. And you know what? It's okay. Once you start, it's so freeing once you start admitting, like, oh yeah, I think that too. And it helps you to know that, you know what, you're not alone. You're not some crazy woman sitting in your house with all these thoughts in your head. You know what? We're right there with you. And I mean, just think about, sometimes I look at artists, you know, creatives, people who paint, and people who write books, people who write movies and all these things, and I'm like, oh yeah, I could have written that story, you know, those horror films. Yeah, yeah, I could have totally, that's gone on in my head. um those crazy things, or the paintings where you're just walking by and it's a little disturbing, and I'm like, whoo, that guy has had some things in his life, like, wow, he put that on paper, on canvas. um so yeah, so you're not alone. You're just not alone. uh but you can get control. You can change your thinking, you can change your patterns, or write it down and make a bestseller, and there you go. New career for overthinking. Anyway, so I hope y'all can just really sit and figure this out, and yeah, and let's get our brains in check. Let's start living the right way and not living in our heads. Let's start living out in the present. Let's start living uh, in nature with people and conversations and that, and stop living in our heads. So yeah, have a great day.